After being reborn, I intentionally brushed past the CEO's wife time and time again. She would pass by the hospital entrance where I worked on her way home from work. I would use the back door. She went to Disney to celebrate her birthday with her moonlight. I stayed quietly at home playing games alone. She was transferred to work in North City. I applied for a top-secret project at a space base. It was because in my past life, I took care of her when she was drunk for a whole night. For the sake of our reputations, she married me. After marriage, she distanced herself from me for the rest of her life. I did the laundry and cooked for her. She said, "No need. Don't dirty your hands." One suggested we have a marital relationship. She avoided it like a snake or scorpion. "You're tired. Go to sleep early." And when I forced her to fulfill our marital duties every 15th of the month, she respectfully replied, "Obeying orders." This way, she clearly told me that the reason she let me touch her was not out of love, but because she had to. And so, we lived like strangers for 20 years. Until the funeral of Liu Ruy, the lawyer said, "Mr. Liu, Ms. Liu decided in her lifetime to give all her assets and real estate to Mr. Boder, and she did not want you to attend her funeral." After saying this, the lawyer handed me a thick photo album. On the cover, it was written, "Dearest." I opened the album, and the memories inside were not of me, her husband, but of Boder. He was the boy Liu Ruy had adopted years ago. Under a photo of Boder in a tuxedo, there was a line of text: "Since I cannot marry the one I love in this life, I would rather settle for anything." The continuous blows left my heart in agony. Looking back on these 20 years of marriage, it ended with nothing but settling for anything. After hearing Liu Ruy's will distribution, the whole room was in an uproar, until someone stormed in. They gave all her money to someone else. So who will pay for our medical compensation? It was the family members of the victims of the drug incident who broke in. They saw me and began shouting, "This is the bastard husband of Liu Ruy. Since we can't get any money, let him pay for the lives of our family." Saying this, they rushed towards me. A sharp dagger stabbed into my chest. Looking at Liu Ruy's cold eyes from the photo, I slowly closed my eyes. If I could do it all again, Liu Ruy, I will never marry you again. When I opened my eyes again, I was facing the messy blankets. Before I could react, a cold voice sounded in my ears. "I've already called Mom and Dad. The wedding will be in 5 days. Yi Fan, are you satisfied now?" I looked up and saw Liu Ruy. At this moment, she was in her early 30s, with a gentle and graceful appearance. It finally dawned on me. I had been reborn. On the eve of my wedding to Liu Ruy, our families had arranged our marriage since childhood, but Liu Ruy had never liked me. The wedding had been delayed for many years, turning me into the laughingstock of the entire Haikang. Until one day, Liu Ruy got very drunk, and I accidentally bumped into her. By some twist of fate, we ended up having a physical relationship. Liu Ruy always believed that night was part of my deliberate scheme. Thus, she grew to loathe me even more. But she had no choice but to take responsibility and fulfill the marriage contract. After marriage, Liu Ruy was cold and distant toward me, yet I loved her with all my might. When Liu Ruy's company faced a financial crisis, I gave her all the assets of the Yi family. Liu Ruy hated me going out, so I gave up my job to become a stay-at-home husband. Liu Ruy preferred peace and quiet. I dared not even walk loudly at home. For over 10 years, I lived in fear and trepidation, finally earning some of her rare smiles. But they were only occasional at best. I once thought she was just cold and distant. But now I understand. She had given all her love to someone else. The memories stung like ants, crawling all over my heart with aching pain. I forced myself to snap out of it. I looked up at the woman before me. You don't have to be responsible for me. I spoke calmly. Let's cancel the engagement. If I live again, I won't waste my precious time on a woman who doesn't love me. Liu Rui, however, only sneered. Yi Fan, playing hard to get again? I was stunned. I remembered. When I was young, I loved Liu Rui so much, I went mad. Several times, out of anger, I said I would break off the engagement. But Liu's father and mother always persuaded me to stay. So Liu Rui had long stopped believing I would ever call off the wedding. This time, I tried to explain. But Liu Rui turned away without a second glance. Liu Rui never listens to anything I say. I was helpless. Forget it. If I want to break off the engagement, I can just tell the Liu family directly. More importantly, I have other, more urgent matters. Then, I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Professor, may I still apply for the Aerospace Bases E-project? The professor on the other end was filled with surprise. Of course. You're the researcher they specifically requested. But as I told you before, this is a top-secret project. Once you go to the Northwest Research Institute, you won't be allowed to return for 10 years. And you can't contact anyone. Have you thought this through? I majored in aerospace in university, with excellent grades. My graduate research project was in the most needed technology by the country right now. So, right after graduation, I received an offer from the aerospace base. That was my dream. But in my past life, when Liu Rui proposed marriage, I hesitated and eventually gave up on my dream. I devoted myself entirely to being Mr. Liu. But in this life, I only want to live for myself. I've made up my mind. I'm going. The professor was extremely happy. Good, but the project is about to start. We leave in 5 days. You need to say goodbye to your family. But I had no family to say goodbye to. When I was 15, my parents passed away. Since then, the Yi family had only me. I contacted Liu Rui's parents to express my intention to cancel the engagement. After hanging up, I went to the auction house. My mother was a famous ceramic artist during her lifetime. Since her passing, I had been collecting her works as a tribute. One of them was a piece called Love, which my mother made while pregnant with me. I had searched for it for many years. Luckily, I was fortunate. Before heading to the Northwest Research Institute, I happened to find it for sale. I arrived at the auction house, only to see Liu Rui and Ji Boda there as well. When they saw me, Liu Rui coldly spoke. Yi Fan, have you had enough? I didn't react right away. What? Liu Rui's expression grew more impatient. You called my parents to cancel the engagement. Wasn't it because you were unhappy with how rushed the wedding was? I've increased the wedding budget tenfold. Is that enough for you? I finally reacted. Liu Rui and the others were still. Believe me, I really want to break off the engagement. You misunderstood. Before I could finish my explanation, Liu Rui interrupted me again. Yi Fan, that's enough. Looking at the coldness in her eyes, I suddenly didn't want to say anything anymore. Forget it. The wedding is in 4 days anyway. If they don't see the groom, they'll know. I really want to break off the engagement. The auction quickly started. Liu Rui gently asked Ji Boda. Boda, your birthday is in a few days. Tell me what you like. I'll buy it for you. Ji Boda, however, nervously fidgeted with the corner of his clothes and shook his head gently. Aunt, you raised me, and that's the greatest kindness. Everything here is too expensive. I'm not worthy. Nonsense. Liu Rui frowned. Our Boda deserves the best in the world. Ji Boda's father was Liu Rui's subordinate. 12 years ago, he sacrificed himself to save Liu Rui. So Liu Rui adopted Ji Boda and let him call her aunt. At that time, Ji Boda was only 10 years old, and Liu Ruy was 21. But 12 years later, the little boy from the had grown into a tall and handsome young man. Seeing Liu Ruy look at Jibota with such tenderness, I suddenly realized how slow I was in my past life for not noticing Liu Ruy's love for Jibota. At this moment, the voice of the auctioneer rang out. Next up is a famous ceramic piece. Love. The porcelain piece from Zuzi was brought to the stage. It depicted a mother elephant embracing a baby elephant. Jibota suddenly lifted his head. Liu Ruy noticed immediately. Do you like this? Jibota's face turned red. Yes, this reminds me of my late mother. At the same time, I had already raised my paddle. 10 million. I offered a price double the market value because I absolutely had to win my mother's last piece. But Liu Ruy also raised her paddle. 15 million. I suddenly turned to look at her. Liu Ruy remained calm. Boda likes it. Anger flashed in my eyes. This is my mother's last piece. Liu Ruy raised an eyebrow. Only then did I notice the name of the artist. My hand, holding the paddle, dropped involuntarily. But unexpectedly, Jibota suddenly swallowed hard and spoke. It's fine, Aunt. After all, I never deserved to have such a fine thing. Liu Ruy looked at the boy's reddened eyes. A sharp pain struck her heart. Without hesitation, she turned and called for the staff. Light the lanterns. This porcelain. I must get it. Light the lanterns. Whatever price others offer. Liu Ruy will add 1 million more. This is limitless. I absolutely have to win love. My expression darkened completely. Liu Ruy. I trembled and spoke. Do you have to do this? Since childhood. I've never asked you for anything. Please. Let me keep my mother's last piece. My mother talked about this porcelain many times while she was alive. It's the one piece I've always wanted to bring home. Liu Ruy remained indifferent. Sorry. Boda rarely likes something. My hand holding the paddle dropped dejectedly. Although my parents left me a large inheritance, the cash I held couldn't compare to Liu Ruy's. In the end, my mother's love was delivered to Jibota. Thank you, Aunt. I really like it. Jibota happily took the porcelain, but unexpectedly, he suddenly let go. The porcelain fell to the ground, shattering into pieces. My mother's favorite piece was destroyed after all. I picked up the shards with red eyes, carefully trying to piece them together again. But just as I managed to form a rough shape, the housekeeper walked over. Sir, Mr. G has arrived. He's kneeling at the gate of the villa, saying he wants to apologize to you. He also said, unless you go out personally and tell him you forgive him, he won't get up. I didn't even lift my head. Don't see him. After a while, a torrential downpour began. Liu Ruy walked into the Yi family villa, her face pale with anger. Yi Fan, aren't you going too far? The usually indifferent woman now had fire in her eyes. Boda has been kneeling outside for an hour. It's so difficult to just go out and tell him you forgive him? I paused, my hand still holding the porcelain fragments. That's his choice to kneel, I said coldly. He destroyed my mother's things. Why should I go comfort him and tell him I forgive him? Liu Ruy was furious, but just then her assistant rushed in. It's bad. Miss Liu, Mr. G has fainted. What? Liu Ruy's face completely changed at this point. She looked up and saw me still calmly piecing together the shards. She was furious. With a sharp gesture, she threw the almost assembled porcelain to the ground. Yi Fan, you're truly heartless. She left these words behind and stormed out the door, scooping Jibota up from the rain. I watched as the porcelain was thrown back to the ground, shattering completely. The tears I had been holding back finally fell uncontrollably. Heartless? After all these years, I've chased after her, just to get her to look at me once more. But what did I get in return? It was the tragic end of the past life. And the indifference of this one. Who is really heartless? I wiped away my tears, picking up the shards piece by piece. Liu, are you why? I won't love you anymore. Not even a little bit. Not anymore. Having made up my mind to sever ties, I packed everything Liu Ruy had ever given me over the years and sent it all back to the Liu family. They were supposed to be gifts from Liu Ruy, but in reality, each time it was her parents who forced her to give them to me. She just had her assistant buy them. There was only one thing, a family heirloom jade pendant from the Liu family. It was too precious, and I planned to return it to Liu Ruy in person. But to my surprise, when I arrived at the hospital outside Jibota's room, I heard Jibota's voice. Aunt, don't be so good to me. I'm afraid I'll get used to your kindness. And when you get married, I won't be able to adapt. Through the transparent glass of the hospital door, I saw Liu Ruy's face full of heartache. She instinctively raised her hand, seemingly unable to control herself, wanting to embrace Jibota. But she still held back. Her hand eventually landed on the boy's head, her gaze controlled and restrained. What nonsense are you saying? Even if I get married, I will always take care of you. Jibota's eyes brightened, but then he heard Liu Ruy continue. I've said before, you can treat me like your real aunt, and I will take care of you for life. Disappointment flashed in Jibota's eyes. He lowered his head. Just an aunt, he murmured. But aunt, after you get married, you'll have your own children. When you have your own children, what will I be to you? There won't be. But unexpectedly, this time, Liu Ruy answered without a second thought. Yi Fan and I won't have children. Jibota froze. Why? Liu Ruy lowered her head and looked at her expression filled with emotions I couldn't understand. I've already arranged long-term birth control pills. After marriage, I'll take them every day. So we won't have children. Boda. I'll always be your aunt. I'll give you all my inheritance in the future. So, don't worry, okay? Aunt? Jibota's eyes turned red. He rushed into Liu Ruy's arms, standing at the hospital room door. I was pale, because I remembered in my past life, Liu Ruy said she had specially prepared a vitamin for me. At that time, I thought Liu Ruy cared for me so much, and I was extremely happy. I took the vitamin seriously every day. After many years of marriage, we still didn't have children. We went for tests. They said it was my issue to get pregnant. I started undergoing various tests, taking all sorts of medicine, and my body began to gain weight from the hormones. But even then, Liu Ruy get pregnant. My doctor had warned me that the medicine wasn't working. I thought of countless possibilities, but I never considered the vitamins Liu Ruy gave me. But now, thinking back, I couldn't bear it anymore. I took a step back. Liu Ruy, you have a cruel heart. At that moment, Mr. Yi, Liu Ruy's bodyguard happened to approach. Seeing me at the door, he paused in surprise. I roughly shoved the jade pendant in his hands. Give it to Liu Ruy. Then, without turning back, I left. Today is my birthday. Because I was about to leave, I, who usually disliked excitement, reluctantly held a grand birthday party for my friends. But to my surprise, Liu Ruy came with Jibota. Gift. Liu Ruy coldly, tossing the box in her hand to me. I looked down and saw. It was a diamond ring, just like in my past life. How laughable. A ring that others use for proposals. Liu Ruy treated as a birthday gift. It was clear she was telling me that this marriage was nothing but charity. How laughable that in my past life I was oblivious and cried with gratitude over this ring. In this life, I didn't hesitate to return the ring. The last time I asked the bodyguard to transfer something, did you not receive it? If you see the family heirloom jade pendant I returned, you should understand. I didn't intend to marry her. But Liu Ruy frowned. Didn't you see? I told you before. I don't need anything. You don't have to give me a gift. I froze for a moment, then realized Liu Ruy must have assumed that when she saw the bag, that I was giving her a gift. So she didn't even bother to open it to check. I thought back. In my past life, when I was sorting through Liu Ruy's belongings, I found dusty boxes in the basement storage room. All of them were gifts I had given her. For her 25th birthday, I spent a week carving a necklace for her. When she got sick at 33, I traveled to Fashion, kneeling for 3 days and nights to get a peace talisman. When she turned 40 and started having headaches, I spent a year learning to make a calming incense by hand. All these thoughtful and labor-intensive gifts were carelessly tossed into the storage room and left untouched. In contrast, the paper stars Boater gave her, the cheap scarf, even a simple note, were all carefully stored in the safe. A sarcastic smile curled at my lips. I didn't want to explain further, so I just went to greet the guests. Halfway through the party, Boater suddenly collapsed into Liu Ruy's arms. And my head feels dizzy. Liu Ruy's face immediately changed. Is it from being sick or eating something bad? I'll take you to the hospital, she said, picking Boater up and rushing off without giving a second thought. I frowned. I was the host of the party. If anything happened to Boater, it would be my responsibility. As I left, I didn't want to cause any trouble, so I followed them. But when we reached Liu Ruy's black Bentley, I heard Boater's labored breathing, and I feel so hot. Down there, it feels uncomfortable. My hand, which was about to knock on the car door, froze. Even I could tell something was wrong, let alone Liu Ruy inside the car. I heard her urgently speak. Boater, you've been drugged. I'll take you to the hospital right now. But Boater in the car suddenly grabbed her and cried out, "It's too late, and I feel so bad. Please, please give it to me. I just want to." The boy's sweet voice, tinged with sobs, sharply struck at the most sensitive nerves in the woman. Liu Ruy had already been using every ounce of her self-control. At that moment, I heard the boy's confession. All the suppressed emotions finally erupted. The woman transformed into a beast. She suddenly pounced on the boy. I watched as the car in front of me shook violently. I heard the boys crying inside the car turn into gasps. Then it became begging. Finally, it turned into weak whimpers. The woman still hadn't stopped. I forced a smile at the corner of my mouth. In my past life, I had been married to Liu Ruy for 20 years, yet the moments of intimacy were few and far between. Even the later ones were only once a month. It was still a gift I begged for when I was 35, to return to the years I had lost. I once thought Liu Ruy had no interest in such things. But now, listening to the intense noises in the car, I finally understood. It wasn't that she was uninterested in such things. She was just not interested in me. I turned my head. Perhaps this way it's better. In this life, everyone got exactly what they truly wanted. I returned to the banquet. 2 hours later, the banquet was nearing its end. As the host, I had to speak. I went back upstairs to the makeup room and drank a glass of juice. I was about to touch up my makeup, but then a hot rush surged from below. I sensed something was wrong and was about to shout, but before I could, a cold voice echoed from the door. "How's it going? Yi Fan, how does it feel to be drugged?" I snapped my head up, and there she was, Liu Ruy. Standing at the door of the room, I didn't know when she had arrived. I immediately realized, it was you who drugged my orange juice. I was furious. "Liu Ruy, what do you think you're doing?" Liu Ruy sneered. She stepped forward and pinched my chin. "I wanted to ask you, what are you trying to do? Why did you drug Boater?" "Just because he accidentally broke your mother's legacy work. You drugged him. You wanted to make him embarrass himself in public, ruin his reputation, and even his chastity. But he's still a child. Yi Fan, how could you be so cruel? I was completely stunned. When did I drug Ji Boda? Liu Ru pushed me away. Don't deny it. I've already asked Boda. He only drank a cup of water you gave him today. If it wasn't you, who else could it be? It was at this moment I finally understood what absolute favoritism truly meant. Ji Boda only said one sentence, and Liu Ru didn't even ask. She immediately sentenced me to punishment. Madwoman, I sneered coldly, struggling to pick up my phone to dial for an ambulance. But Liu Ru snatched my phone away. Liu Ru, what are you doing? Liu Ru looked down at me from above. The effect of this drug is very strong. Calling an ambulance won't help at all. Your only option is to beg me. I couldn't react at first. Beg you for what? Of course, to beg me to help you with the antidote. Liu Ru sneered, but I'm not without conditions. You must kneel and apologize to Boda. Then I'll help you with the antidote. I stared at Liu Ru in disbelief. She had just finished having her fun with Ji Boda in the car. And now she wanted me. And made me kneel to beg her. In that moment, I felt an unprecedented disgust. But Liu Ru had already bent down close to me. Yi Fan, what are you pretending for? Isn't this what you've always wanted? She coldly said. You used this same tactic to make me marry you. And now I'm just making you apologize for your sins. What's the problem with that? I finally couldn't take it anymore. I shoved her away. I grabbed the scissors on the table and spoke coldly. Make me kneel and apologize to Ji Boda? Dream on. With that, I didn't hesitate to stab the scissors into my thigh. Liu Ru's expression changed at that moment. Yi Fan, what are you doing? But I didn't care about her. I just kept stabbing my thigh. Again and again. The pure white gao was instantly stained with bright red. Liu Ru stood frozen. Yi Fan, I didn't want her to touch me. I would rather hurt myself than let her have her way. That thought surged in my heart. Liu Ru felt an unprecedented frustration. Yi Fan, she screamed in rage and grabbed my hand. The scissors fell to the floor. A sharp pain shot through me. I felt my dazed mind finally clear up a bit. At the same time, applause rang out downstairs. Clearly, they were waiting for me, the main guest, to speak. I endured the pain, shoved Liu Ru away, and walked down the stairs, seeing me covered in blood. The crowd gasped, but I remained unfazed. I raised my chin, the bright red, like a rose on the cliff. I raised my glass, smiling at everyone. To my 29th year. Happy birthday! May the future be bright. After saying those words, I finally couldn't hold on anymore. I collapsed. Amidst the exclamations, Liu Ru rushed out and hugged me. I fainted for a day and night before I woke up. After being discharged from the hospital and returning home, I had just finished packing my things to leave when Liu Ru arrived with Ji Boda. I've checked the drugging incident. Liu Ru said stiffly. It was someone else's mistake, and it had nothing to do with you. I didn't respond, but Ji Boda, standing next to me, began crying again. Uncle, it was all my fault for speaking carelessly. That made Aunt misunderstand you. To apologize to you, I personally designed the wedding dress for you and Aunt. I also consider it a birthday gift for you. I finally lifted my head and looked at the wedding dress in his hands. The memories of the previous life flooded back. I sneered. Don't you check the size when you design clothes? There's no way I can fit into this dress. In the previous life, on the eve of the wedding, Ji Boda also brought out the dress he personally designed for me. Liu Ru, without saying a word, rejected the high-end custom dress I had carefully selected and insisted that I wear the one designed by Ji Boda. What's laughable Is that Da's dress was too small and tight? I couldn't fit into it at all. But in the previous life, Liu Ruy just coldly said, "You'll just have to lose weight." So 2 days before the wedding, I didn't dare drink a single drop of water, and I passed out at the wedding. In this life, I certainly wouldn't be so foolish. Upon hearing my words, Da's face immediately turned pale. "Yes, I'm sorry," he cried, anxious. Because when I designed the dress, I kept thinking, what if I were the groom? So I accidentally. Liu Ruy suddenly looked up at him. Her eyes filled with complex emotions. Da hurriedly covered his mouth. As if realizing his slip of the tongue, the air grew awkward in an instant. Until I sneered. "Since that's the case, you can wear the dress." Da nodded, but Liu Ruy's face immediately turned ashen. "Yifan, what nonsense are you saying? I am Da's aunt." I mockingly curved my lips. "You see, it's always the guilty ones who get more easily agitated. It's fine if someone else wears it." I didn't feel like exposing her. I simply spoke in a calm tone. "In any case, I won't be wearing it." Liu Ruy immediately furrowed her brows. "Yifan, what do you mean by that?" My meaning has always been clear. I lifted my head and repeated word by word. "I don't want to marry you anymore. I won't be showing up at tomorrow's wedding." "What kind of game are you playing now?" Liu Ruy was originally impatient, about to speak, but when she saw my cold gaze, her words froze on the tip of her tongue. Her eyes fell on my leg, tightly bandaged. She suddenly remembered. Yesterday, I had been willing to hurt myself like that, rather than have any relations with her. Liu Ruy's inexplicably filled with frustration again. "Yifan, the wedding is soon. Don't throw a tantrum." "That's right. I must be angry because of her. Because of the neglect in the past days. Once the anger passes, I'll happily and eagerly marry her." As for the dress, Liu Ruy's eyes fell on the dress beside me. I thought she would act like in the previous life, forcing me to starve myself to fit into the dress. But to my surprise, she spoke. "Since you like the dress we had chosen before, go ahead and wear that one." Da suddenly raised his head, and Liu Ruy, however, patted his head. "It's okay. You can design another dress next time." Da's face turned slightly pale. Liu Ruy left with Da. But it wasn't long before Da came back. He stood before me and coldly spoke without hesitation. "Yifan, you saw everything in the car yesterday, right?" Da stood before me. His face no longer had the usual timidness. Instead, it was full of intense hostility. I didn't answer directly. I simply asked in return, "Was it you who drugged me?" Da didn't deny it. "Yes, and has always loved me. I just gave her an opportunity." I understood. In the previous life, I wasn't sure if Liu Ruy and Da had a mutual affection or if it was just one-sided. But this life, I was certain. So I spoke. "I wish you both happiness." I said this sincerely. But Da exploded in an instant. "Yifan, stop with your sarcastic tone. But I have to admit, you've definitely leveled up compared to before." He sneered. "Before, you were just like a desperate dog. Now, you've learned to act all composed. You think that by refusing to have relations with Aunt yesterday, you're showing some kind of moral high ground? She start looking at you differently. I'm telling you, dream on. Today, I'll make sure you see the truth." As soon as he finished speaking, he lunged toward me, covering my mouth and nose with a cloth. The pungent smell hit me. I was startled. I tried to resist, but my leg was injured and I had no strength. The servants had already left because the things we were discussing were too private. I couldn't struggle. I lost consciousness. I woke up to the heat, opening my eyes. All I could see was flames. Da was lying beside me. I snapped back to reality and angrily yelled at Da. "You set fire to my house? Are you crazy?" But Ji Bo-da just sneered. You thought Annie had feelings for you, didn't you? Today, I'll make sure you understand how deeply she truly loves me. Before he could finish speaking, Liu Ruy's anxious voice sounded from behind me. Bo-da, where are you? Ji Bo-da immediately wiped the malice off his face and squeezed out some tears. He cried pitifully, "Aunt, I'm here. Please come and save me." Liu Ruy quickly rushed into the room. She froze when she saw me, but the scream from Ji Bo-da burned by the flame immediately drew her attention back to him. Bo-da! She quickly picked Ji Bo-da up, and as she walked toward me, she quickly spoke. Yi Fan, I'll send Bo-da out, then I'll come back to save you. Saying this, she quickly left. I mocked, curling my lips. Enduring the pain in my leg, I used all my strength to crawl towards the door. I no longer believed Liu Ruy's words. I had to get out on my own. I crawled downstairs, only to find that the first floor had almost been completely consumed by fire. Liu Ruy was clearing a path out. When she saw me, her face changed. Didn't I tell you to wait for me? But now isn't the time to dwell on it. She was about to help Ji Bo-da out, but Ji Bo-da suddenly shouted, "Be careful!" I saw a beam of the ceiling snap into from the fire, and it fell straight down. The first piece of wood fell in my direction. Yi Fan! Liu Ruy's face changed. She was about to rush over, but the next second, there was a crack. Another beam fell, heading straight for Ji Bo-da. At that critical moment, Liu Ruy finally turned around and shielded Ji Bo-da in her arms. The flaming beam hit her back. She let out a muffled grunt. At the same time, another piece of wood hit my back. A sharp pain shot through me. I blinked and saw that the firefighters had finally rushed in. Liu Ruy was still holding Ji Bo-da, protecting him with an absolute protective stance. She tightly shielded him in her arms. I smiled. Liu Ruy, in this life, you made the same choice again. When I woke up, I was already in the hospital. In front of me, Liu Ruy, who had been treated and bandaged. When she saw that I was awake, she stiffly spoke. I've already asked the doctor. Our injuries aren't serious. The wounds have been treated. It won't affect the wedding today. I didn't expect. At this point, Liu Ruy thought I wanted to marry her. At that moment, I couldn't be bothered to explain. I simply got out of bed. I'm leaving the hospital today. I have a flight for the E-project. I can't delay. But Liu Ruy thought I was in a hurry to leave the hospital for the wedding. She couldn't help but secretly breathe a sigh of relief. As expected, I was still eager to marry her. She felt inexplicably relaxed inside, even a little happy. Liu Ruy didn't understand why she felt this way. She felt frustrated and immediately put on a stern face. I'll go to the wedding venue first. You can join once you're ready. Once Liu Ruy left, I called the driver over. Sir, are we heading to the wedding venue? But I answered without hesitation. No! To the airport. Take the luggage to the airport and meet the mentor. As I was heading out, I received countless messages from Liu Ruy. Yi Fan, where are you? Why aren't you at the wedding venue yet? It's almost too late to do your makeup. Do you still want to get married? Yi Fan, I'll give you 10 more minutes. Come here immediately. Liu Ruy seemed to have lost all patience and called me directly, but I didn't even glance at it. I turned off my phone, took out the SIM card and threw it in the trash. Then I turned and boarded the plane. Goodbye, Liu Ruy. In this life, I will live only for myself. Meanwhile, on the other side, at the wedding venue, guests had already taken their seats. The marriage of the two major families of Haikang was naturally bustling with excitement. But behind the scenes of the wedding, everything was in chaos. Liu Ruy's father was fuming. Ruy, did you contact Yi Fan or not? In 15 minutes, The wedding will start. And there will be no groom. We are the biggest joke in Haikang. At this moment, Liu Ruy's face was also incredibly ugly. She dialed my number again. But this time, she heard the cold, mechanical voice of a woman. Sorry, the number you dialed is unavailable. Bang! Liu Ruy slammed her phone onto the table. This Yi Fan! What on earth is he doing? Didn't he look forward to this wedding? Didn't he go so far as to scheme to marry her? Wasn't his childhood dream to be her groom? Now that the wedding has finally arrived, where has he gone? On the other side, Liu's mother had already called the hospital. I've confirmed it. Yi Fan has been discharged, but he hasn't shown up at the wedding. Could it be that he doesn't want to get married anymore? The more Liu's mother thought about it, the more it seemed like that. She was so anxious that she almost started crying. He did say before that he wanted to cancel the engagement. I thought he was just saying it out of anger. But now, it's clear that you've been neglecting Yi Fan too much. That's why he's become cold-hearted. What am I supposed to tell her mother? Liu's mother and my mother grew up as best friends. They had a very close relationship. My mother passed away early, and Liu's mother had long since considered me her son, always hoping I'd join the Liu family. Impossible, Liu Ruy blurted out. How could Yi Fan not want to marry me? But the next second, she remembered the drugging incident from the day before. Such a strong drug. Anyone who took it would lose their rationality, just grabbing any antidote. But I resisted and didn't touch her. I even preferred to injure myself. It seemed like I really was determined to cut ties with her. Thinking about this, Liu Ruy felt like a piece of her heart had been ripped out. An inexplicable sense of unease filled her. I'll go to his house to find him. She turned around and was about to leave. But Liu's father shouted, the Yi family's villa has been burned down. Where are you going to find him? Liu Ruy stopped in her tracks. That's right. She almost forgot. Yesterday, the Yi family inexplicably caught on fire. It had already turned into ruins. Could it be? Because yesterday in the fire, the first person she saved was Ji Boda? I was angry. Thinking about this, Liu Ruy felt even more frustrated. She was about to go elsewhere to find me. But at that moment, the wedding staff hurriedly came over. The groom is here.